Developing countries like India, do you think they'll always have inspiring stories because there were certain people who shaped the country?
Every single country on earth, if you dig deep enough, they'll have extremely inspiring stories.
If you think about a few qualities, what stands out and will always stay with you now that you've done this role?
One thing in my mind was that what is the keystone of Vikram Sarabhai's edifice?
Yeah.
He was a man of science.
Science, right.
That always helped me, that stayed.
Your character has this amazing dialogue which says, "Ghanton tak lectures sunne padenge peace और harmony के from heavily armed countries."
The guy saying that it's raining and he says, "Barish I can handle. Ghanton tak lectures sunne padenge about peace and harmony from the 6 most heavily armed countries in the world. Fucking hypocrites."
That's a powerful dialogue from his character. Any line that you remember of your character that you'd like to share with our viewers?
A lot of arguments with Homi, and you even see one of the scenes with in the trailer where he says,
"You don't know me
"You
at
don't
all."
know. I'm the only one who knows you well enough."
Moving on, I want to ask you that, developing countries like India, do you think they'll always have inspiring stories because there were certain people who shaped the country?
Every country has inspiring stories. Every single country on earth, if you dig deep enough, they'll have extremely inspiring stories.
So it's an individual thing.
Well, it's just a human thing.
Right.
I mean, there'll always be people working for bigger aims than just their ambitions.
Right.
And these people will always be inspiring to us. I know all of us can at times get trapped by our selfish desires, but we always will find it remarkable when someone seems to be working for something beyond themselves.
Yeah.
That's just a universal
thing.
appreciated characteristic.
Right, right.
And so I think that universally in any country,
everywhere this will be
that will be happening.
Right.
There will be people on one side of how we would label as morally bad or uninspiring or devious, and there'll always be people on the other side as ambitious and inspiring and dedicated and full of service.
Right. What makes them the people they are? What is, if you think about a few qualities, what stands out and will always stay with you now that you've done this role?
There's a whole lot of things. I think it's, for me, I think I wanted to know that ecosystem, that what was the air like in those days. And I guess I started with the adab, that Jain adab, him being an Ahmedabadi, whole lot of things, the influence of Gandhi, Tagore, being a man of science. But at the heart of it, I think the one, if I kept like one thing in my mind was that what is the keystone of Vikram Sarabhai's edifice?
Yeah.
He was a man of science.
Science, right.
And there are moments where you have to sort of fall back on a certain motivation. Is he doing it because of is it a personality trait? Is it a human thing? Is it just in the moment? Or is this decision, the way, where I want to ground my performance, should I fall back on that thing? And that always helped me, that stayed. While all these other things kept piling above.
Right.
It could be a scene, because a scene is always like a mixture of a whole lot of things. It's not just one thing. But he always remained, in his demeanor, in his thought process, a man of science.
Right. That's such a...
I forgot the question. What was the question?
No, I'm coming for the next question for you, because your character has this amazing dialogue which says, "Ghanton tak lectures sunne padenge peace और harmony के from heavily armed countries." These are
from
very...
the 6 most heavily armed countries in the world. What is it? The guy saying that it's raining. And he says, should you go in this weather? And he says, "Barish I can handle. Ghanton tak lectures sunne padenge from the 6 most about peace and harmony from the 6 most heavily armed countries in the world. Fucking hypocrites." And that's, I think, sums up one of Homi Bhabha's worldviews very, very well.
Yeah.
And it sums up the state of affairs in the world
Even
very,
now?
very well. Up until now, there is a general imperialist tendency where Europe and America more or less have the best PR systems going for them in the entire world. And so we forget that
what they do,
the biggest acts of like human rights violations have been committed by them in the last 200, 300 years. And so they become the guardian of culture, technology, modernity, forward thinking. It's why we think the Renaissance started in Europe, even though all the Renaissance thinkers stole their ideas from Native Americans and Africans and Chinese and Indians. It's just incredible. I mean, it's been going on for
forever.
Forever. It's just incredible. And in the modern world, that's why we are still considered a developing country, because of years of plunder and being ruled by another country entirely. Similar in so many situations, and I don't know how to international politics counter this.
Right.
I mean, I'm just an actor.
Yeah, it's a line that, you know, he said many years ago. It's still valid today. You know, that's a powerful dialogue from his character. Any line that you remember of your character that you'd like to share with our viewers that stays with you and that you thought was impactful?
So many. It's
Something about admiration for your mentor.
you know, I'll tell you what. It's not the lines always.
Sure.
Of course, there are lines that you kind of want to kind of repeat, but so many times it's the silences. It's the just being there in the scene and what you experience a certain feeling. It's completely intangible, but so I don't, and you know, I can't assign a word to it.
Sure.
But it's those moments, like it's a lot of arguments with Homi, and you even see one of the scenes with in the trailer where he says,
You don't know me
"You
at
don't
all."
know. I'm the only one who knows you well enough."
Right.
It's that moment. If you see in betweens when he's talking and I'm listening, it's like that change. And when I say so from the time that scene starts to the end, it starts on a certain note. There's a discussion, and by the end of it, you know, they're again at loggerheads.
Powder keg.
Right.
Powder keg issue.
Right.
But in that scene, you are being a hypocrite. Don't you feel?
And you are being someone who's not nice.
Sure, but you are being a hypocrite.
Who has an ulterior motive.
In that scene, sorry to tell you guys, he is being a hypocrite.
Right.
He's been calling me that from season 1. I'm not a hypocrite.
Right.
Watch season 2 to find out.
I just have weaknesses, okay?
No, everyone has weaknesses. Some of yours are hypocrisy, that's all.
You know, love this equation. Last question is, how much of reaction is important from your co-actor?
Everything. It's everything.
It's everything, right? For you?
You can manage without it. You can see what you need to see and keep going in the scene. Because if I see a reaction in you that maybe you haven't even done, when the camera pans to you, the audience will also see it.
Right.
Because the audience sees what you instruct them to see, more or less. More or less. More or less. So it is possible without, but it's 100 times better if you don't have to do that imagination extra work, right? You just read it in the face and you respond.
You say it, right. For you as well, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean...
also, it's a rapport with your co-actor.
Yeah. It's one thing to read the lines out of the book, and when the other guy is saying it, even if he says it neutrally, it's just magical. If he does it with an intent, with feeling, with, you know, a lot of prep and all of that, then it's just, you just submit to that moment and you'll experience something magical.
Right.
And if you feel it, the audience will feel it.
Great, guys. You know, so Rocket Boys did raise the bar for all of us. We thoroughly enjoyed the first season, so can't wait to watch this one. All the very best to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.